Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Anis Nuraini from Chemistry A. Here I want to answer the question philosophy course. The first question is explain correspondence, coherence, pragmatic, and religious theories along with example. And then the first is correspondence. Correspondence is the theory that holds that statements are true is they correspond to fact or statement that exist in nature or the object to which the statement is intended. And the example is Jakarta is the capital city of the state of Indonesia. This statement is true because it corresponding to a factual object, namely Jakarta is indeed the capital city of the state of Indonesia. And the second is coherent. Statement is true if it's correspondent to comprehensive network of logical real statement. Example of coherent truth: all humans will surely die, and the statement that is true. And the third is pragmatic. Pragmatic theory of truth is a theory that holds the meaning of idea is limited by reference to scientific, personal, or social consequence. Whether or not proposition or theory is true depends on whether or not the proposition or theory is useful for human is their life. Example: all iron expands when heated. His pragmatic truth perplexed are factories to process iron so that it becomes useful tool for humans. And the fourth is religious. Is the true of religious truth? Revelation is used to come to God. As truth-seeking characters, humans seek and find truth through religion. For example, in matters of worship, eating, and doing activity, there is something in the Quran that Muslim can then use as a way of life. And the question number two is state and explain the means of scientific thinking and example. The first is language. Language is needed by humans or as a function, communication tool or communicative function, and a cultural tool that unites people who as the language or a cohesive function. And then the second is mathematics. Mathematics is a language that with a series of meanings from the statement we want to convey. And the third is statistic. At first, the word statistic we define it collection of information material within the form of numbers and intangible numbers. Okay, and the question number two is the difference between the paradigm of rationalists and empirics. It saying how knowledge is obtained along with example. Rationalism is philosophical understanding which shares the reason the most important to it acquiring and testing knowledge. One example of rationalism is A is greater than B and B is greater than C. Then A is greater than C. We know that is true without looking at concrete example. And empirics is a school of philosophy which states that all knowledge comes from human experience. Example of the application of empirics is everyday life. For example, how do we know that fire is hot? So an empiricist will think that fire is hot because he has experienced it himself by touching the fire and experiencing what we call hot. And the question number four is explain about ontology, epistemology, and axiology along with example. Ontology. Ontology is science that discusses excited or a science that discusses the nature of everything that exists, whether it's the form of physical or metaphysical reality. An example of an ontology that is commonly applied in everyday life is table. In table ontology, namely using the reality of the table, the reality is that there are images or ideas that make us recognize a table. No matter how many models of table there are, no matter how different their size, color, and physical, it is the table. And then epistemology. Epistemology is a science that examines the source of knowledge or the origin of methods, structure, and whether knowledge is valid or not. For example, in everyday life, we must be close to how to find food and get food. The question is, how do you know it is food and can be eaten? Based on that, what you think of as food is food. You must have the knowledge and can already perceive the five senses that it's food. And the last is axiology. Axiology itself can be interpreted as a science that discusses the nature of the benefit or use of exciting knowledge. Example, someone has the knowledge and skill to make a chair. When the chair is finished, the craftsman can know what is the chair used for. For example, it can be used for sitting, used for provide comfort while working, and placing items such as folded clothes and so on. And the question number 5 is explain the hierarchy of knowledge along with example. Number 1 is tradition. Tradition is the lowest foundation in knowledge. Something is considered true because it has been considered true and true long ago. Example, Rotan ceremony tradition by the Japanese. And number 2 is authority. Hierarchy of knowledge based on authority means that something is considered true because it says by expert. Example, government opinion on global warming. And number 3 is trial and error. Trial and error is used to get the best knowledge. After a repeat trial, it will be known where the error lies, and the errors found will be corrected so that it depends knowledge is obtained. Example, recent scientific. And number 4 is logical reasoning. Reasoning is a systematic process that combines personal experience, intelligence, and formal thinking system that acquire knowledge. Example of deductive reasoning. Hamdan likes to eat nutrition food. People who like to eat nutrition food have a healthy body. Conclusion, Hamdan has a healthy body. An example of inductive reasoning, animals need food, plants need food, humans need food. Conclusion, every living thing needs food. And number 4 is the scientific method. The scientific method is the top of the scientific hierarchy pyramid. The scientific methods because systematic examining, empirical, controlling, and trivial proposition point on hypothesis. Example, research on the danger of smoking to human health. And the last question is what is meant by the concept of elimination and religion integration. What is behind it? From of elimination and religion integration. The elimination of knowledge is an attempt to refer back to knowledge, namely to redefine, rearrange data, writing argument, and rationalization. This is goal and do it systematically to enrich the vision and struggle of Islam. The integration of science and religion means trying to combine science and religion. It does have to mean anything or even mixing, because the identity or character of each of the two insights does not have to disappear and must be maintained. And the early American of the elimination of science and the integration of religions and science was motivated by dualism or a scientific discontinuity between general science on the one hand and religious knowledge on the other, which in turn gave dichotomy in the education system. Um, and front of examination science and integration of religion and science, number one is purification, namely cleansing or purification. Number two is modernization, namely the process of change according to fitrah or sunnatullah. And the last is the new modernism, model set to understand the teaching contained in the Quran and Sunnah by considering the truth of classical Muslim intellectual and paying attention to the difficult and conferences offered by the world of science and technology. I think enough. The last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.